Hello everyone, how's it going? This is part 2 of which character you should invest. You pull in if you're starting right now, and if you're not starting right now, well, just watch the goddamn video. I don't know. Just hear somebody talking for I guess another 30 minutes. This is what I do. To be honest, I want to be frank with you. So if I ever have to do something, I just put something on and listen to what anybody has to say. So I'm hearing a lot of stuff. I just put on YouTube and hear what everybody's saying. So podcast, games, politics. Okay, so you know what the good thing about is that I'm not running ads. I just started this week, so you can just hear me yapping for a good 30 minutes because I'm always saying how I'm gonna create a short video, but I always end up creating the worst the worst the video ever, lengthwise. I mean, 30 minutes is a long, you know. And when we get to the 20 minutes mark, 25 minutes mark, my throat is dry, and I just can't take it anymore. So anyway, today, at least I would like to finish this process, this thing that I had in mind, which has evolved. I wanted to evolve it in a way, but I would like to. My focus basically was, if you're starting right now, what should you do? Okay, that's basically, and I don't want to kind of expand too much on possibilities and things, because as I said, Honkai Star Rail is pretty, still is a pretty friendly uh, environment if you want to explore and if you want to create and build teams. And I know that I talked about power creep and all that, but that's mainly if you are new and if you don't want to, play differently or really get into the game. Because you know what? If you're like me and you're not that connected to the game, like building a lot of different sets so that you can exploit this in this scenario and that scenario. You just want, as I said, a good DPS and a buffer, whoever works with the DPS, the newest one, so that you can clear the content without thinking that much. But still to this day, if at least take it, for example, this pure fiction. I saw a guy, and I will put the video in the description. I saw a guy clearing with 4-star characters in the Kafka wave, which is the first one this time. He used who did he use? He used a lightning one, March 7, but with a pure break effect, without using no, yeah, he was using Harmony MC. So he was using Harmony MC and March 7, but doing 800,000 damage. So 4-star cones, 4-star everything, and he was doing, he cleared with 80k points, man. And I was barely able to get up to Kafka with a facial premium follow-up attack team. That's crazy. And I realized that, man. Well, I did know that. I don't know much. I mean, I knew that you could do that, but not that much. Not that much damage. And on the second wave, do you know who cleared it with? The Shuei. This guy. She did, and she did an ass whoop, man. She cleared the floor. She was impeccable. without any super break buff, man. That's wild. 4-star units. I think she used Ting Yun, this one. He used Shuei and Hanya, I think. Oh my, it was wild. I was like, oh my god. And not just clearing it, defeating the Flame Reaver with Shuei just by doing a break using the break mechanic. So every single character was built as a break DPS, basically using the set that you use mainly on Firefly. Let's see if we if there's any, because I don't know how to translate it in English. Let's see. So there's this set that helps every break DPS, basically, which gives break buffs and all that. I don't think I can see him right now here. I don't see it. Just as a recommended set is the set that was built for Firefly, that was made for Firefly, basically. So insane. That was insanity. Okay, insanity. So so you can do many things still. What's the downside of that? You needed to make a lot of those sets, and you have to be quite, at least a little bit lucky, so you get the subset that you need. I think I have 2 full sets of that specific set, usable sets, but that's as far as I could go. Then I started farming other things. Okay, so but yeah, so as to say, Honkai Star Rail really offers many things. So power creep is real, but still, if you're good at the game, I think that shows, and you can clear content still with with a little bit of intuition and strategy. You can still do beautiful things. Okay, so that out of the way, let's continue. So if you're new, you're not much, and you want just an easy this is good, this is bad. Okay, so that's what I wanted to do. Okay, basically. So as I said, as for DPS, just get the newest one. That will make it easier. If you can get the light cone, it's not so much recommended, but if you can get him, I talked a lot about the Castor's light cone, which is pretty good. Just get it. If you do have the pull, just get it. But you should prioritize building a buffer and at least a sustain, at least one. I mean, come on. So if I had to choose between let's say who's the best sustain for free to play environment, I said that Gallagher was the best, because you could pull them in the Castor's one, in the Castor's banner. But now, now I don't think that he's up. But so I think that if there's a rerun or something of Aventurine, he's a pretty good candidate. You should probably get him if there's a rerun of Aventurine. And if not, and you don't want to, you don't want to waste time, and there's Fushuan up, I guess that Fushuan still is a good candidate. She is not as effective as Aventurine, to be honest. I have Fushuan and I have Aventurine. Fushuan works better if you have, I think, well, I don't think that much better. I think that if you have Aventurine or Fushuan and then you have Acheron, I think they both serve a good purpose. So, but I guess that Aventurine is a bit superior, to be honest, just between the two of us. Okay, so Fushuan was released first. I mean, come on. So, and the typing doesn't really matter, to be honest. Aventurine has this beautiful imaginary type that somehow I just found it so good facing the enemies. I don't know, just in this pure fiction, using Aventurine was really helpful. against those bugs. You know, it was really, I mean, I don't know why, but he can deal actually a lot of attacks. So I think that the typing on Adventure is important, but on Fush One you just don't really see it because she doesn't attack basically at all. You just want to skill, basic, ultimate, and that's it. But unless she is super invested, I don't think that you actually see any DPS damage. You just go with the flow and you just shield. But with Aventurine, there's a case of building him with that actual crit and crit rate. So because he does a little bit of damage. She's a little bit like Tribi. Tribi is a buffer and she does chip away HP bars. So Fush One E0 does not. She's just she's a shielder. She just takes the damage and she doesn't complain. So okay, so the only character that I wanted to talk about a little bit is Acheron. If Acheron is up, should you pull or should you go for her? She's a DPS. Okay, so let's talk about F2P friendly. Okay, does she work with good 4-star units? Yes. She mainly needs a debuffer. So a pretty good candidate is Pella. I think with we didn't talk about Pella that much. Pella is a brilliant debuffer. She's an AoE debuffer. She charges up the ultimate a little bit like Serval. I mean, they charge. I think that they're both the same. Basically, they their ultimate has a low cost, and every time they skill, both Serval and Pella, they recharge a lot, almost all of it. If you have the right set, you know, and the right light cone, they can spam ult every 2 turns. So that's basically pretty important for Acheron, because Acheron needs debuffs on the enemy always, every time, anytime, forever. Okay, so pretty powerful character. My case is the most important thing that I look for is the element. So just as I said, if you have Aglea lightning DPS, you shouldn't go for Acheron because, well, she does play differently, but I think she's a little bit more complicated, especially if you want Acheron to work, you know. So if you don't have a way to apply many debuffs because you don't have many debuffers, what you can do is basically make her act again. So she does apply debuffs herself. So you can play Acheron with Sunday or with anybody that can action forward. You can play her with actually a pretty good candidate, a pretty good ally is actually Remembrance MC. Yes, he strikes again. He is everywhere. This guy is everywhere. I'm gonna say it in this video again, in this video too. Just build him, get him, build him, use him, use him. Just do whatever you want. You can clear content with this guy. You can actually do stuff. He's good. Okay, so Acheron. Would I go for Acheron? Man, I think I would. I think I would. We got a Remembrance MC. We got a 5-star debuffer, even though she's a 4-star. And there you go, man. She can work with Sparkle also. Everybody that can advance Acheron and make her act again. Her light cone is especially good. And I actually saw and heard online that you can use her light cone on other Nihility units, and that worked pretty good, you know. I don't know, man. I that's what I heard. That's pretty rad. So I heard it about talking about this the cat girl that we're getting. I think it's in 3.2, but next after next Agora we're getting this Nihility Quantum follow-up attacker, debuffer. That's a lot of stuff going on for her. I forgot the name, but the cat girl. Okay, so her light cone is pretty good. Basically, instead of doing one stack when you attack, you get 2 stacks. That's wild. That's huge. To be honest, that's pretty huge. So Acheron is good, to be honest. You can also play her with Ruan Mei. If you got Ruan Mei on the anniversary for free, just they play good, man. And you know, the sustain thing that I talked about on the first video is pretty potent as well. Instead of playing a healer, you play a sustain, a preservation unit. So every time the preservation unit gets attacked, if you have the light cone, there's a chance that the enemy gets burned, and that also counts as a stack for Acheron. I usually do this with my first one because she's built with a little bit more of effective hit rate, because the debuff applying is dictated by the effect hit rate. So I think I talked about this in the first video. So ideally you want a preservation unit with nihility, just based on this tactic, but if you can debuff the enemy pretty consistently, especially if you have this guy right here, Zhao Chu, well, I guess you don't actually need to use that strategy. That's what I use. Is especially good on pure fiction, for example, on not as much as in Memory of Chaos. At least it depends on the quantity of enemies. If there are a lot of enemies that attack you and you have that light cone on a preservation unit, Acheron is going to use the ultimate a lot more. Okay, so it depends. It's situational. Okay, universally, it's a strategy that you can use and it's still usable. I guess why not? But if you don't have a preservation unit, just go with something that heals. And if you don't need a healer, just don't use the healer. Go sustainless. Have Sparkle. Have 2 advancer. Make her act every time. Make her ult every single turn. If you can't do it, just do it. Don't let anybody stop you, man. This is Honkai Star Rail. Okay? Power creep is real, but not as real. If you don't want to use the sustain, don't use them. Just go wild, free. Just like Spirit, the horse. You know? Okay. Tier 1. Okay, so pretty easy. These are the DPS for tier 1. As you can see, are they good? To be honest, just looking at them, are they good? Yes, they are. They are, and but they're not really efficient. Not at least not all of them. Okay, and I wanted to talk about if you should get him or if you should not get them. So based on what I said, you shouldn't get any of them. Okay, because this is 3.0, baby. I mean, this is what you should get. This is not what you should get. Okay, so but based on this, if you're new, should you go for them, man? Let's put it this way. An Exagora, I don't know why it's in T1. I think that you should get him, to be honest. He's a 3.0 character. He works a lot of like the Herta. I don't think that he's more powerful than the Herta, but definitely I would definitely go for him. So if you're just starting right now, he's the one. Between him and the cat lady, I would go for an Exagora, to be honest. Plus I like the wind element. I think the wind element is pretty good. AoE, I think he can work with another erudition character, 4-star 1. So I would go for him. So based on that, yes. I don't know why he's in T1, but yes, I would go for him. Totally. The rest of them are not as relevant, and I don't I wouldn't go for any of them based on my account and based on the future, basically, on what we discussed. But let's break it down. So, Woodhill, out of the bunch, perhaps one of the deadliest, I guess. He needs to break the enemy, and if he does break the enemy, then that's pretty good, and that's game over. I think the damage is insane still on this one. But as I said, the break meta can be can be pretty easy to understand or a pain to adjust to. You need to have many units that contribute to damage and that help the DPS. In this case is Boothill. As I said, there are many people doing many things with all the characters. As I said, there's this guy that killed the Flame Reaver with Shui using the break meta, using the break strategy. So, but to be honest, I just fear that characters using break shouldn't really be prioritized right now. That's just my feeling, man. I'm not saying that they're bad. I mean, if you can use them, plus he implants the weakness. So anybody that implants the weakness is basically good. I mean, just don't depend on stuff. It's just like Firefly. Firefly implants the weakness, so you can actually play and be a little bit safer, So I have a grudge against Firefly, to be honest, but Boothill, I actually do not have him. I saw many people using Boothill and having a good time, to be honest, but I wouldn't go for him. I wouldn't go for him because as you do need to have supports, and those supports I think that they're not as relevant, to be honest. That's my take. Just as Fei Shao, for example. If I had to go all over again, and if I didn't have Fei Shao, I wouldn't go for her 100% because she needs other units. Okay, right now in this meta, I think she needs many units to work. She needs another follow-up attacker. If she's a standalone, maybe you can use she totally needs another hunt or another follow-up attacker. And the damage is there and sometimes it's not there. I don't know how to explain it, to be honest. I think that T1 is a well-deserved tier for Fei Shao. I'm struggling with Fei Shao, to be honest. I'm struggling. I always use her because I have a pretty good team, a pretty good follow-up attack team, and that works. But man, I was using her with this lion guy. I'm an off element, whatever you want. But man, the ults are so, they hit so low. 340,000 340,000 was my max damage, man. It was like I had to like unleash 6-7 ults on that guy, man. And then I saw a video of March 7 with a break set, like killing him in 2 turns, man. It was wild. What is wrong? So I mean, plus 5-star, man. No, just no. I think that Fei Shao, to be honest, is a little bit gone, to be honest. A little bit, still a good attacker. Not SP friendly, to be honest. She needs to skill every time, and that's a bummer. But yeah, I mean, so no, just no. Fei Shao is a strong no. To be honest, Boothill is a yesish. Fei Shao is a no. Just like Firefly, man. Firefly needs so much help. She needs so much help, man. Otherwise, she doesn't really do much damage. I have Firefly. I couldn't play her, man. I just couldn't play her. She's not SP friendly. She has this weird. I mean, if she attacks, she gains so little energy recharge bar that it's laughable. There's times where you're about to get the full bar and you say, oh my god, I'm going to basic attack, I'm going to charge it up, and no. So it's like 97% uh, of the bar charged up, and you see I'm going to basic, just as any no as every normal person would do. But no, you basic attack and you don't get the ult back. That's crazy. It happens so many times. She has to skill every single time, man. There's not a way. If you cannot skill, you lose so much DPS that it's insane. She has to skill. To get the ult back. She has to skill to deal damage basically, and the damage is not that good, man. Not that good. If she had more AoE, to be honest, if she was full AoE, not adjacent targets, I guess that she would still be a little bit relevant. But no. So when you have many enemies that you have to kill, but if you're focused only on 3, mainly 1, because the splash damage, it's like splash damage. So the adjacent enemies that, for example, they don't get as much break bar shredded as the main targeted one. So that's not good, man. That's not good. Right now we need more AoE. This was an AoE content in 3.0. So let's say that you do perform pretty good against whoever you're targeting. You just have to target those other people, and then her ultimate wears off, and she needs to charge the bar. So you need to spend at least one turn charging the bar, and the next turn she goes off again. So terrible management, man. And that was so clear on when we got her, but she was so powerful back then that then it was like, you know what, like she works, she good. Okay, so Yun Li, I think that she got pretty shafted, you know. Follow-up attacker, yes, just like Clara, a better Clara. I said this in the first video, and better multipliers, so pretty good, man, pretty good. But this thing is not as usable, you know, in many instances. Just that. For example, I wanted to use Clara in this in this apocalyptic shadow, but there were those bugs that would pop off, that would explode, and that would just kill the run, because as I remembered, those bugs would inflict this status effect that wouldn't let me act. So I just said, you know, I'm not gonna try. Even though the weakness, the physical weakness was there, the physical element was pretty good to use on, but I said, you know, I don't know. So you have to rely on people attacking you, TLDR, okay? You have to rely on people attacking you. So Yun Li and all these characters that rely on that. So I guess it's situational, okay? So Yun Li is pretty good, to be honest. She has damage, just like Mighty is the newest one, you know. Yun Li just plays the same user when the physical is up, and there you go. But it depends, so it's not as universal, you know. It's not like Castorus. I think that you can use, right now you can use Castorus alpha element if you want. Just kill everybody, everything. But Yun Li you cannot, because you have to rely on people attacking you. That, you know, you understand what I mean? So that's what I'm meaning. So I wouldn't go for it. It's a type of it's an archetype that relies on patience, and relies on content, and relies on whatever Honkai says that's going on. So if the enemies are not attacking you, you're not attacking, and that's something that you should take into consideration, okay? So the best out of the bunch, the never-ending, the the immortal. He is he is just like a he's a vampire, to be honest. He was released in 1.2. He was released after Luocha, man. He was released before Kafka. He is ancient. He's an ancient dragon. He's an alligator. He's a pharaoh. He is Jingwan or Jingyuan. He is ancient. He prophesized the summon meta. He prophesized the 3.0 meta back in 1.2. He was the one. Really, he did. He just did, man. He just okay. He just summoned this entity, this hunt god, whatever he is, whatever it is, and yeah, I'm just realizing right now he's the precursor. He is the precursor, man, of the 3.0 meta, which is the one we are in. So you can see, but he got buffed. I mean, not really buffed. He got stat wise. He was not buffed. He was enhanced by newest partners. The, every time there was a new amplifier, you know, like in his days it was Sparkle. He got slightly buffed and slightly more used. And actually he got the last laugh on Kafka, because Kafka was, oh yeah, the dot meta, and we're using, okay, so we're getting Black Swan and we're getting this one, we will make her work. And she never really worked. But this guy, silently, he killed them all. He killed Kafka in the end. So whoever said I'm gonna pull for Jin Yuang and skipped Kafka, and everybody was saying, oh, you're an idiot, you skipped Kafka, Kafka is the best. Well, who's laughing now? Who's laughing now, man? Jin Yuang is not laughing. I mean, he's laughing, and his summon is laughing. He's pretty good, to be honest. I wish I had him, just for the meme. I wish I had him. I think he's pretty good. So he can actually work in this new meta with Sunday. He's an hyper carry, and that's it. Basically, that's it. Actually, to be honest, if you have the right unit, I think he's friendlier than Acheron. Okay, I think that if you have Sunday and perhaps a very good healer, perhaps Hua Hua, which she actually gives energy back. I think that with Hua Hua and Sunday, I would prefer having Jing Yuan than Acheron. I think it would be faster. You would clear faster. Maybe you wouldn't dish as much damage as Acheron. You know, a good Acheron, but yes, totally good, totally good. So out of this, I guess an Exagora is first pick. Then either Boot Hill or Jing Yuan. Okay, it would depend on the element that you have, especially what you're facing. So you know why I pulled Firefly? To be honest, I didn't want to pull her, but you know why I did? Because there was this memory of chaos that I just couldn't understand. It was the break meta Apex. I just couldn't understand how to do it. I didn't want to really invest. I didn't have the time, money, energy to build a good cracked break effect set. And so I said, you know what, Firefly would help me. And I had the Jades, and I went for her, and I got her after a painful streak of, I think I lost a 50-50 there, but so I got Firefly and I got the Memory of Chaos. Okay, so basically, yes, the first rule is getting a good DPS, but first of all, getting something that, if you want to clear full stars, anything, I think that it's not. I would go for it. You know, do I need Mighty because I cannot clear this Purification 36 stars? Yes, I guess it's. I think it's good advice. I think it's a good strategy. especially Memory of Chaos. I think the Memory of Chaos is the hardest content, to be honest. Between Pure Fiction and Apocalyptic Shadow, because I don't know why, but in Memory of Chaos you don't see many. At least I haven't seen many, wild strategies. In Pure Fiction, I think there's more action. You can build characters way more freely. At least that's what I think. Memory of Chaos is a bit more restricted, because it's not like Pure Fiction. There are enemies, waves of enemies. The enemies are pretty, pretty weak. There are a lot of enemies, but they're pretty weak. Okay, so you can kill them with literally, a sneeze, basically. So it's not really. I think Memory of Chaos is a good reflection of the real power creep and the real deal. Okay. So but heal Jing Yuan and Exagora. Okay, the rest I don't know, man. I wouldn't touch them, to be honest. I wouldn't touch them. Okay, so let's see if we can finish this T1 and go for part 3, because man, we are deep into this. It's been 30 minutes already, and we said nothing basically. Okay, let's see if we can sum it up later. So we talked about March 7. We talked about Yurta, we talked about Serval in March 7, and well, Topaz and Nambi is listed as a supporter character. I rarely see her as a standalone DPS. I always see her with Fei Shao, to be honest, or another partner, but mainly with Fei Shao. So yes, out of the bunch, let's say that Topaz and Nambi was a T1 DPS instead of listed as support DPS. I wouldn't go for her at all. I would only go for Topaz if I had Fei Shao, and I do have Fei Shao, and I still wouldn't go for Topaz and Nambi. Because I think that the meta is gone for those. I mean, they can resurrect the follow-up attack meta, but we don't know, man. So we are enjoying the summon remembrance meta. The next meta, would you do something different, or would you go back to what we had? I think we would do something different. The only thing that I guess MiHoYo has to offer is a revised dot meta, because dot never really took off. I think that we need an apology. We need MiHoYo to say, okay, let's finish what we started. That's the only thing I can see them trying to do. So I wouldn't pull for dot characters, okay, to be honest. I wouldn't right now. I would never advise it, but I think that it's, I think it is gonna happen sometimes. What I don't think is gonna happen is MiHoYo or Honkai giving better follow-up attack DPS or break DPS, okay, based on what we got. Really, literally, based on what we got. Let's say that there are only a few archetypes. We got the dot meta, the break meta, the Akron meta, the follow-up attack meta, the losing HP and attack meta, and of course we might get some amplifier perhaps, but I don't think that we are going to get a star DPS. And just to say, I don't think that we're getting another Fei Shao, to be honest. Another follow-up attack queen or king. That's what I'm trying to say. Even though Mighty is the king of the follow-up attack if you attack me meta, okay? So I might be wrong. That's what I feel. That's what I feel is not gonna happen. And if it happens, is Fei Shao going to be a support DPS? because you have to take that into consideration as well. So let's say that we get a new hunt wind follow up attack, DPS queen king. So well, Fei Shao is going to be, you know, a support DPS, and if she's the support DPS, that's more of the reason why you shouldn't go for her, because there's going to be a new her. Okay, so it's different with 4-star characters, but it's pretty evident with 5-star ones. So plus the hunt path mainly favors those kind of, you know, standalone hyper carry, because I guess you can use Fei Shao as an hyper carry, but that's my thought. I mean, I don't see why you should go for Fei Shao, especially based on right now the amounts of the only good, I guess, pretty good unit that you should build. I think it's March 7, regardless that if you're having follow up attack, because I see March 7 doing so much damage. Just building break effect on her and attack, she does a lot of damage, like insane damage, man. Just, she's the best out of this total div. Like, there's not even, it's not even close. So Herta is pretty good still in Perfection. I think you can use her. She just works so well in Perfection still up to this day, and I talked about this, pretty good. Serval also pretty good battery. She's usable as a main DPS also. Well, I don't know why they say dot. I guess that she can dot, but dot is that. A pretty good partner, yes. But also I see people using Serval as DPS and a pretty good DPS as well. To be honest, on E6. To be honest, not to. She does damage, man. And Pella, perfect. Out of all of these 4 stars are the best. They are here for a reason, man. If you have them, just do it, and you still won't. I will put my hand on the fire. You will not regret this. You will not regret building these characters, all of them. Just do it, man. Sparkle, is Sparkle good in this meta? I think that Sparkle still has many friends that she can play with. Acheron, you know, anybody that you want to make a good DPS. I think that we haven't seen the last of Sparkle. Plus, she has this thing that she makes 2 more usable skill points. I mean, made for Den Hang, of course, but I think that I wouldn't go for her, based on of the news on the future. I don't see why you should go for her based on the DPS that we have right now. I think that she can work with Aglaya, you know, not as much as Caster, because Caster is an HP scaling damage dealer. She can work better with the Herta, to be honest. But yeah, I think that she can work with the Herta. Herta, another addition. Sparkle, she attacks quite frequently. She likes to have a lot of skill points. I think she's a good. I mean, on paper, why not? Am I wrong? But you know, not as. I mean, I would go for Sunday. So Sunday is better than Sparkle. That's what I'm trying to say, basically. So if you already have Sunday, I guess you could go for Sparkle. Just for the meme, I don't know, or maybe you want to use her on the second party. So you have 2 hyper carries. I mean, Sparkle is pretty good, to be honest. I don't see any problem with Sparkle, to be honest. But I think going for her depends on what you have. So we will talk about it when she gets re-released, I think, if it's advantageous or not. Harmony MC is good if you want to use this break stuff. So with the super break buff, anybody can be useful, mainly March 7 at least, or anybody that you want to build for good break damage basically. Instead of crit rate and crit damage, you build break effect, and yeah, it's pretty good, pretty good. So also, I think they should go. You should build Harmony MC. A lot of break effect, speed, pretty good unit. Yes. I think that anybody should pay attention a bit about this break meta, you know, how it works, because it's radically different than the standard DPS crit rate crit damage, but it's worth investigating. As far as I know, um, it's the third mechanic present here. Well, fourth. So we have dot, but it's dead. So we have HP scaling, we have break effect scaling, and we have standard attack and crit rate and crit damage. So studying the art of the break is good, and he's an amplifier of that. So pretty worth it, to be honest. Otherwise, if you don't want it to study and you just want to go with the flow, I guess the best teammates are Rappa, Firefly, you know, just as they were intended. But you can actually use the Trailblazer Harmony with anybody that you want to turn into a DPS, a brick DPS. Fushwan, I already talked about Fushwan. I think that she's good. If you cannot pull for Aventurine and you're desperately and you need somebody to make your account a little bit easier, I think I would go for Fushwan still. Plus, she does work with Acheron. Okay, so pretty good. Okay, so I'm going to end the video here. Hopefully, I made some sense. My main focus is on people starting right now. So if you see like Vishal, Boot Hill, you know, and they're like, oh my god, I like them, I want to pull, and I would say no. As I said, an Exagora is the only one that I would go for right now. If you just have, you know, I just want to pull on somebody, I just want to pull on something, what do I do? Get an Exagora. I think that he'll be pretty good. So that's basically my resume, my resume. What am I saying? That's my, to wrap it up. I'll say for tier 1, I think the only one I would go for is an Exagora. Build all the 4 stars that you see right here. Build them all. Sparkle is pretty good. Build Harmony MC because it can still be used for that break stuff. And push 1 is pretty good, to be honest, still. And not a, well, just because she's sustained, she shouldn't be prioritized. But she should be prioritized. But I guess if you don't have any other option between these two, well, if you have Castoris, I think Bluecha is better. But if you don't, and you don't have Castoris and you need a standard shielder, she's not that bad. She does her work. Let's put it this way. She does her work. Okay? Okay, so I hope it made sense. As I said, this is my experience with the game. I'm not a Honkai Star Rail god, man. There's so many good people doing so many good stuff. I'm just not one of them. I see them, and I would like to communicate that I know who these people are. I see them videos, okay? But I'm just talking about the normal average experience. As I said, you know, Harmony this guy was released basically when Firefly was released. So basically that's what they said, you know, use them together and have fun, and so we did. But you can use Harmony MC with March 7 with anybody that you want to, because of the break mechanic, of the break mechanic, as I said, and it's important. I think it's one of the core mechanics of the game, you should investigate, and you should look up into, because um, it can help you clear endgame content. Okay, well, 40 minutes video, man, that's crazy. Okay, so thank you for watching, and see you for part 3.